So I think I'm on right there. So this whole digital internet marketing communications tool has really changed the way we do things, right? The internet being invented about in the 1960s when DARPA decided they were going to start to make it easier for the universities to communicate with the military and the government. There was no real public access to this. There were companies and businesses and people that could get in there, but they had to be affiliated with one of those three. And it was DOS based. I remember back in the 8th grade, my dad made me. Somebody made no story. The reason I did the Cardinal Cowboy thing, right? I was supposed to be a professional baseball player. Some people thought. I didn't win the same award as a guy named Ryan Howard, another guy named David Freese, playing real competitive. But my career got ended short of where some people thought it may have gone by a drunk driver back when I was 19. And so, God love my parents for saying, "Hey, we're also going to have a backup plan for you because we know statistically." Dad's a bit of a numbers guy. He took his statistics class when I know he was going to get his PhD. But statistically, the odds of making it as a professional athlete are very, very slim, even if you're good enough. Right? Injuries happen, politics, different players in position that's ahead of you. Even though another team that has a player that's not as good, but you're not playing for that team. You got drafted by these guys, and they won't release you. I heard these stories about some of my buddies who made it in the big leagues, and others who were close. But my career got cut off pretty quickly. Who knows if I'd actually made it? I was a decent ball player. Interestingly enough, the Shark County made a comeback, and they said, "You got to come out of retirement. We need you to come play." And I batted .523 and led the league after a number of years off. And I took batting practice twice before I came back. But it was kind of neat for me to say, yes, I knew I had it anyway, but hey, I'm here for a different reason, and I like to talk to people about that too. And that's to help as many people as I can. How many people here like to help people, right? And that's what, as computer nerds, that we all are, right? I'll consider myself a computer nerd. It's a good thing. Now I can really help people communicate and be more efficient with their lives. Because these computer things, my dad and my mom had enough insight to send me to this computer class during the 8th grade, during the summer when I was still playing 50 games of baseball, so in case the baseball career thing didn't work out. And so fast forward, here I am many, many years later. I was 8th grade, and the accident happened when I was 19, and I'm a little older than 19 now, right? But I'm actually 42 now. But the computer thing has really kicked in for a lot of people. So how many people here, now what you do is your job is related to computers? How many people have computers involved with where they work? Does anybody here doesn't raise their hand? Right? Is anybody that's not paying attention? I mean, this is not important. Man, I'm sorry, sometimes that may be the case. But it literally has changed the way everything is done. And there's a lot of people, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, some big name people that have recognized this, and they've made a lot of money off of it too. So one of the initial topics that I was asked to talk about was not necessarily the whole history, right there, give you a little bit of that, but where are we at currently? And that's where I started off with before we started recording, by the way, for those wondering, that Google has really revolutionized things, and now Facebook. How do Facebook and Google work together or not? Does anybody kind of seen the asymbiotic relationship there, really? How they work together, or how they really compete. They compete with each other, really. They don't work together well at all, actually. It depends what angle you take with that, but they've learned to work together. They're two separate companies trying to accomplish similar things, but
I think Google try to communicate through sites and different things, and Facebook is more personal interaction.
Yeah,
but you can communicate sites and things through Facebook also.
Right.
And both compete for the social network that you have.
Right.
I was going to also say, if you kind of look at it, a lot of sites kind of tell you to link up certain things with each other. Like Facebook will tell you to link up. If you got a music person and they say, I want you to link up to Facebook with it, and then you see other places that have Google. So it's like each one trying to compete to have you link up each site next to each one. So they can kind of have more majority over what you're doing.
Right, and they're both fighting for essentially to have eyeballs, right? Where were eyeballs 15 years ago? TV, right? Billboards, print, and ears listening to radio, right? When's the last time somebody went to the radio to try to figure out what was going on? And there might be updates, and there's radio's having to reinvent themselves a little bit and figure out other ways to get their message across and how they tie it in. I've got some well-known personalities who were well-known in St. Louis that's talking to me saying, Cowboy, help me figure this out, because I know my industry is changing. There's two celebrity radio show hosts who I've been a guest on, and I've talked with both of them about changes. And they said, after the show's over, give me some ideas too, so because they don't want to, they want to keep making a living in what they do, and they've got to figure out how to do this. And so the radio stations are tying in where you can get streaming now, and then ads come up through the streaming ad that you see up there. But it's happened as a matter of that the truth is Facebook is kind of replacing radio and television as a branding mechanism, really, right? Because you don't go to Facebook to find a product per se. You go to Facebook to become familiar with something, or you see something that because what does Facebook know about you? Everything, right? They know what you like, they know where you live, they know your age, they know your sex, they know your favorite things to do, they know your favorite places to go. They know everything about you. They know where you live, right? In more ways than one. And so now they can easily take that information, which you have volunteered to give them because you signed up with the contract agreement that you did when you clicked I accept by becoming a Facebook member, and now they can market to you with all of that information. Google's a little different, right? Google is saying, hey, you're looking for something. When you're looking for something, are you a little bit closer to that decision where you're ready to buy, right? Radio's blasting things out to you, television's blasting things out to you. Now Facebook is putting things in front of you that they know you might be interested in because they say you like the Cardinals or you like the Blues or you like this certain restaurant, but you're not necessarily ready to buy. So the difference really between Facebook and Google is that Facebook is branding, making you aware of different things. Google is saying, we're here when you're ready to buy. It's interesting that you heard everything. I've got a pie chart I put up on my website that says branding, information recognition, research, ready to buy. Bottom of the funnel, right? And that's where people come into Google. And some people through Facebook, and more Facebook refers people to figure out what they want. They get a referral from a friend, or they find something that they've heard of now on Facebook, and then they go to Google to research it, to find the final answer and get the best price that they can, right? Best Buy has to match the price that they get from somebody else that would be buying it on buy.com. If they don't match that price, they're going to just say, oh, I'll wait 2 days, and I don't need it today anyway. I'll just get it shipped to my house, and I don't have to even drive here, and it's $15 cheaper. So I've been there. I'm the guy who walks in with see all the toys I've got here, and I'll walk in with the, yes, this is do I have 2 computers in my bag? Yes, I do. Here's one of them. This is a computer, right? This computer I found at Micro Center. It's a full-blown computer. It's Windows. Looks like a tablet, though, doesn't it? But now I can literally, for some things that don't run on a tablet, be ready to say, oh, you need to sign up? Click right here. There it is. I'm online through my phone. There's a hotspot. And you want to make a purchase? You got the full-blown data, all the information. I can take your application right here, out of my pocket. I can literally put this in my pocket.
Well, sort of. Some people don't have a pocket big enough for something that big.
Well, then you need new pants, right? But it depends how efficient you want to be. So Google and Facebook have now really changed the way business is done, marketing is done. Is Google a search engine company, or are they a marketing company? Somebody tell me how much money Google made last year in pay-per-click advertising. Let's take all of their advertising. 97% of it came through. Let's check the latest numbers. Around 97% of their revenue came from the paid ads that you get so annoyed about at the top and on the right that don't ever work and nobody clicks on them. Tell that to Google. They don't, whatever. If you keep thinking that, we'll just take somebody take a guess. How much money, revenue? 2013, I believe, is the number I'm looking at.
Billions. It's got $1
billion, 3 billion. Anybody else? 10? $56 billion. All right, that's more, that's almost double NBC, CBS, Fox, and ABC, all 4 combined. So when you brag about being on the Super Bowl commercial, and you spent $2 million for a 30-second ad, you're about this much of what Google has pulled in the last hour. Think about that.
They can afford to have us all as intern?
So they get paid for just placing the ads on there?
Yeah, so Google has a product, it's their marketing product, it's called AdWords.
Okay.
And then you literally add the keywords to your list that you want to show up for when somebody types in a relative product. And I'm the one who I've come from a technical background, and I get very worked up about people who sell what I will plainly call the scams that are on the internet. And some of them are, I'll be honest with you, SEO, search engine optimization, right? I'm going to get you ranked on page 1, and watch how I do it, and they show you. And you're ranked. You type in the keyword they told you to type in, and you go, oh, look at that, I'm on page 1. What they don't want you to know is nobody actually types that keyword in, except for you. And it was, an example, mortgage refinance expert St. Louis. If I'm a mortgage guy, why would I not want to be ranked for that, right? I will pay to be ranked for that. The issue you run into these days is the SEO guys have still not been held accountable beyond showing you that they got ranked for that keyword. And you type it in, and they get you there, and there you are. What they need to show you beyond that with this tracking, how many people heard of Google Analytics? Right? Google Analytics, a great resource. Don't necessarily take everything 100% from what Google Analytics says, because it's geared to help promote. To be honest with you, I'm a Google agency. I work with Google guys all the time. I got a new account just got set up. I got an email about my clients. When is this account going to be set up? Well, I fire them off to Google now. I'm a Google agency. I say, here's the account, here's the website. It's for construction. Put it together. And I got to go back through and pick through it, make sure it's all set up right. But they'll have a list of keywords related to construction. And it says, here's these keywords that people will type in. And never is the keyword. I mean, there are occasions, and it's worth making your client happy to have the word construction St. Louis. Right? I'm in St. Louis. I want the word construction St. Louis. Well, by tacking on that word, that what they call a geo term, St. Louis, onto the end of that keyword, which originally was construction, right? A little more specific, a little better option, but the truth is, they've got us all so well programmed now that you don't have to type that in, because all the results you're looking for show up without having to type construction, and they still show you companies from St. Louis. When you do that, how do they know that? How do they know you're looking for a company in St. Louis? And all you type
They know where you live.
They know where you live, right? Yeah. They know what do they know about your. If they don't know anything about you, you didn't even sign into your Google account. Let's just say, what do they still know about you? Somebody mentioned it earlier. They know your IP address, which was assigned by our loving, caring government, right? I mean that with all sincerity. And they said, look, we got to keep this organized, and here's the deal. Dish, DirecTV, Charter, Cox, AT&T, all get assigned IP addresses from the pool of IP addresses out there, right? 255.255.255.255. And every number up to and including that, they get set up in different octets and different internal IPs and external IPs and all that kind of stuff. But they know based on the IP address that you came from, and said, oh, that IP has been assigned to this segment of this zip code, or this phone designated, what do they call those? I've done some telecom stuff. But the area code, but they also get down to the knock center, or whatever whatever it is. Yeah. The little local, the hub related to that, so they can say, we know this guy's coming from anywhere, not necessarily the street that you're on. Ooh, you know what street I'm on when I'm searching for this? But they know the neighborhood you're close to. And so they're going to show you ads. I've done this before. I did something, I showed the ad, and I said, where does it think I'm coming from? And I typed in I said, find my IP and locate it. And it says, okay, yeah, it was within 5 miles of where I really was at. But it knew not to show me ads from Denver, or from New York, or from Washington, right? It showed me ads from people in St. Louis. And that's how that kind of advertising works. And now people just go, I don't need to type mortgage refinance expert St. Louis. I don't even need to type mortgage St. Louis. I just type mortgage, right? And all these mortgage guys show up. And so then you get into the whole game of the paid advertising. What keywords actually convert to leads and what keywords don't. The SEO guy who doesn't even tell you anything beyond the fact that he got you ranked, he doesn't tell you how many people actually visited your website with that keyword. He doesn't tell you how many people actually filled out a form based on that keyword or made a phone call with that keyword. He just shows you where you got ranked, and you're happy to see that. And keep paying me every month to keep you ranked. That's what they do. And then they get it for lists and lists. I did that for a short time. I worked for a company that all they did was the paid advertising. I got promoted to business owner. I had a little disagreement with what they were doing. I said, I'm going to do my own thing. And they said, all right, you can go. Thank you. I'm leaving anyway. But I said, hey, I want to be able to do the SEO stuff. And then when I got into this, just as a person of technical conscience going, I can't keep selling something to somebody that I know is not working. And so, gotta love some of the SEO guys. Some of the SEO guys stuff works. It does. If you get targeted, you're a niche business and you're in a smaller part of town or whatever. But a lot of it just doesn't work. And they don't know any better other than to just say, hey, I got you ranked. They've never been pushed for anything beyond that. And they show you, hey, look, I did what I said I would do. I got you ranked. That's all I promised. I didn't guarantee you anything beyond that. I didn't even know what to ask for beyond that. If I get focused on what I'm doing here in the next step, nobody's asked for that yet. We're still learning this whole internet thing. We're all learning about how it works and what's effective and what's not. So then the paid advertising comes in. Nobody does the paid advertising. Well, tell Google, $43 billion the year before that, $31 billion the year before that, $26 billion the year before that. And in those ballparks, you can look up the Google earnings report. It's public knowledge. And it works because now you're getting in front of people who are saying, I am ready to buy. I'm thinking about it. Thank you for telling me. And I've got clients where I have to explain to them, you're doing all this radio, you're doing all this print, you're doing all this stuff at the baseball game, at the football game, and people are seeing you there. And then they go home, and they forget who it was that said to them that interest rates are at the all-time low. They just think mortgage, and they go to Google, and they type in mortgage. And if you had put some money into the Google side of the house there, then you show up there also, which is probably the best place to show up. And the guys who didn't spend the money on television and radio and print are saying, you go spend all the money you went on all that. I'm going to be here when they type in stuff on Google. And they pick off these sales, and they'll even look like one of my clients. They put up there, I'm not going to say who it is, but they put up, it says, U.S. Mortgage Company. You just saw our ads up there, that's who we are. And then you click on the site, and you find out it's not. It's Bob and Tom's Mortgage Company. But they put in that little ad that said U.S. Mortgage. They are a mortgage company in the U.S. Okay? Don't bother to look at the fact that when you landed on their website, the URL is nothing related to that. It still says on the website, U.S. Mortgage Company. But it's not even them. You got to send them a cease and desist. They can legally do that part. They can't put the name of another company in their ad. They can bid on that other company's name. The keyword. You can bid on it. You can't actually put it in the ad. And I see them with them putting it in the ad, and I go, call my client, and I say, send me an email, I don't call them. I say, send them a cease and desist letter. So they stop doing that. So now the whole Facebook social media thing comes in. So the paid advertising, right? The paid advertising, super effective. You're at the point of sale, people are ready to buy. You showed up for the word mortgage, or then you really realize a mortgage does get a lot of clicks, but it doesn't convert as high. So you might take that word out of here. It's a very broad term. But home loan converts better. We track this. How do we track? Anybody know how you track what keyword is generating more phone calls?
Cookies?
Cookies? Yeah, I mean, there's some cookie tracking. You'll do this, some backtracking. The number one way is use tracking the phone numbers. It's not anything new, actually. They actually have done this on postcards and mailers for years. And they say, here's this mailer that comes to your house, and if they call this number, we know that number was on this mailer, and it had blue and yellow and green with this verbiage, and this mailer had orange, purple, and black with this verbiage, and a different phone number. Which one got more phone calls? Well, now they're just taking the same thing, and they say, now let's take a pool of phone numbers. One of my secrets that I've been doing for years now, that's still catching on. There's a lot of companies that offer this service. I use a few different of them. And they say, here's a pool of phone numbers. Rotate the number. If you ever watch a number come up, and it will be in a text format rather than a hard-coded graphic, because they can rotate that number with a script that says, hey, their real phone number is 533-1212. Not obviously their number, but that rotates real quickly. If you watch quickly, you see the number. Oh, it just changed. How did it change? Why did it change? Because the script runs and says, hey, assign this one out of 25 phone numbers we've got. Right? We've got 25 phone numbers. We're not going to have more than 25 people on the website at any given time. So we can assign 24 other visitors at the same time a different phone number, and it's tied to the keyword that they typed in. It gets forwarded on, and it actually gets forwarded on in the URL that comes and lands on that page. So it gets logged by the tracking software and analytics, and it says, they typed in this keyword. They're landing on your page. If this number shows up during this time frame, it's going to get logged in the call tracking and show you that here's the keyword they typed in and called you. 9 out of 10 times, 8 out of 10 times, they get that tracking, they get the phone number put up for the search they did, they land, and they don't call. The 1 or 2 out of 10, if you're getting good at this, you get a little more than 2 out of 10, they call. 1 out of 10 is pretty standard, unless you got a bad website and whatever. People, you get 1 out of 10 people that visit your website turn into a lead. Yeah, if you know what you're doing. And it's all these things you got to do to convert your site and make it easy to read and convert them, get them into the sales funnel, right? Put them on a landing page that's specific to what they searched for. That's all the stuff you got to do with the Google stuff and Yahoo.
But you said that you can go back and find out what search led to your website?
Yeah, so then it sends a report and says, here's the phone call that came in and here's the keyword they typed in.
But I guess how do you get that keyword from Google after they're at your site?
Yeah, because they've assigned that specific phone number and they say during this time frame, this phone number was assigned to that visit. And if they call, we know that visit was this guy's the only guy who had that phone number. During the next, and there's two different services I use. One assigns the phone number for 30 minutes, one assigns it for 12 hours. So if they call within the next 30 minutes, they're the only person that could have called with that phone number because it only got assigned to that one person for 30 minutes. You know for sure back because there's the only person that came. They called was that visit. It's tied to the visit for 30 minutes. That's the only visit that came that they called. They got that number assigned. If they called a different number, then it was a different person, right? Or if they called the regular number, it was a different person. But you know then what they typed in. So it's better. It's more expensive.
Go ahead. You can use Google Analytics for that too, can't you? Won't it tell you where people came from, what they searched?
Yeah, you'll know. You don't always know what they called from. Now Google's getting into the call tracking stuff, and they used to be $1 per call, and now they've got it down to where they don't charge for it. And I'm transitioning some of my clients over into using that, and it's still kind of, they only give you the information though when it's a Google ad that they clicked on, not a Google organic search. So then you want to know what your organic searches are coming from too, so it's better to use these companies that do both. But yeah, they do. But yeah, and there's all kinds of variations to that too.
It seems like Facebook Messenger where you can just call now over the line without dialing your numbers.
Yeah, it's using voice over IP technology. Yeah, it's connected through your internet connection. But yeah, so now you get into the social media stuff, right? And that's what's going on now. So what's the next big scam per se? And that is these guys. I love them for trying, and their intentions are good, but they're charging. I've got real clients. I've got real examples. I put them on a website. I don't name the clients obviously, but a client who's spending $500, another client who's spending $600, another client spending $1,200, another client spending $1,400. And the worst case scenario, I just talked to him. I said, "What are you spending for that? How are you promoting this event that you've got going on here?" She says, "We spend $2,000 a month. I write the content, and they put it out there for me." And then I go, "I actually have a service that I recently ran into, was referred to me by a friend, that I would recommend you use. It's $99 and automates all this for you. Stop paying $2,000 a month for something that this thing does a lot more effectively than any person can do, even for $2,000. But people are paying that much. So I get into that piece too, and I consult them and say, use this service over here. It's much more efficient. It does a lot more for that. So social media, again, and you can't really blame these people. It may be a harsh term to say scam artists. I mean, I say that just because, well, I feel like I've been scammed now that I know this, but they don't even know it's right. The guys selling it, they don't realize that there's something out there. They better figure it out pretty quick, or else they're going to be out of business, right? How long are you going to be able to charge somebody $2,000 a month for something they can do better themselves for $99? And how long are you going to keep paying for a bunch of keywords you get ranked for that don't actually bring any business when you could have been paying Google for it? And it gets expensive to do the Google stuff, but it works. When you're not getting any tangible, measurable results from the SEO organic stuff. That Google has also, by the way, part of their plan, I surmise, is that they did allow for a lot of this organic stuff, but they slowly pulled it back as more and more people depend on Google now. And they're saying, look, we've given enough away for free. And the truth is, some people have taken advantage of the system. How many people know what a backlink is? A backlink? Okay, so a backlink is somebody else that's linked back to your website. And it's associated with
Page ranking?
Yeah, page rank. So you want to get page ranked based on how many backlinks you got. So then people say, well, if backlinks are what people need, I'm going to become a backlink seller. And these backlinks are not even legitimate, but I'm a quote-unquote link farm. And I will get for you all kinds of backlinks. And they're going to come from sites that don't really have any relevance. And then Google says, well, it's a PR1 or a PR2 or a PR5. What ranking power do these guys really have? And the people that are unsuspecting say, I don't know, I got 50 backlinks. I don't know what ranking they are. And they don't actually end up being any quality. So Google's now come back and said, you've got to use a tool called disavow. And disavow is a utility that you run to say, hey, now this link farm to put this website, they're not even around anymore. The site's still out there. I can't get them to remove the backlink that's actually bogus, and Google's going to penalize me for it now. So I've got to list through my program, this disavow program, say, hey, these are all back, don't count them against me. I'm reporting to myself, don't count them against me. And if you don't do that, then they're going to bring down a big site that might have been ranked for some of these keywords, because some of that did work, but it was through links that weren't legitimate. Because when somebody, the idea behind the link from one site to another is say, I have this site and I'm a mortgage expert. I don't work for this mortgage company, but as an expert in the industry, I recommend them. So therefore, I will link to them, right? And the keyword you typed in was mortgage expert, and now I've got that keyword and it's linked with hyperlink from that highlighted word in my content, and points over to this site that says mortgage expert or mortgage or refinance, whatever keyword it was, it links to this site. That's a good link. But the problem is these are coming from bogus companies. They go up and say, man, how many people have WordPress sites? How many people play with WordPress? About 14%, depending on who you listen to, about 14 to 20% of all websites are WordPress. It's a great, easy-to-use platform that allows you to not have to use a web editor. You don't have to have, back in the day, I used to use Front Page. I'm going to date myself here. Dreamweaver. And now they've got Cold Fusion and all these crazy things you do. But WordPress, you don't have to have any of that. You just log into the web browser. It's got the whole back-end database stuff set up for you. It looks beautiful. You can change the theme real quickly, get a new theme with a new header and new images. Boom, everything's done. All right, so it's easy to use. But it's a blogging site template by default. So almost every site I create, I go and I disable the comments. But so these backlinks end up being bogus, and they get counted against you. So you want to get those removed. But that's the competition that's out there. Who knew what a backlink was 10 years ago, 5 years ago? So this is that game, and now the little business owner is the one that's caught up in the struggle with this to figure out, Bank of America. Does anybody notice when you search Google, just about anything, what's the first website that shows up when you're looking for a generic term? Wikipedia.
Yeah.
They're a not-for-profit organization. They need your donations. I think they do good stuff. But is it a coincidence that spot number 1, which is always the best spot to be in, is always taken by a not-for-profit company that's giving you information? I don't know. I can't make that direct assertion, but I can say it's just weird to me that every time I type in mortgage, first thing that comes up isn't a mortgage information. It's information about what a mortgage is. I know what a mortgage is. I'm looking for a mortgage company. But this first spot, it would have been great for the, and there's companies that do spend millions of dollars to be in that spot. And they're Lending Tree and Bank of America. And how does the little guy show up for that spot? Well, they're not. So they pay for it, right? And they say, all I want to do is show up in this radius. So that's how I get back into the Google side of the house. So here we are, many years later, and this whole internet thing continues to evolve. Facebook's battling. Facebook is in cahoots with who? As far as search engines go.
Bing.
Bing, right. Right. And Bing is merged with who? Bing is Microsoft.
Oh, Yahoo.
Yahoo, right? So 33% of the market is a combined effort between Yahoo and Bing. The other 67% of the market, which is a company that came out of nowhere, is Google. They don't have a monopoly by any stretch of the imagination, but how many people say, did you Bing that? Right? Did you Google that? Right? So what questions do you guys have? That's kind of my overview on the whole thing. And I'd be happy to help anybody individually who wants to talk more about some of those things, and careers or different opportunities to make money and do things, and what I do to make money and whatever.
Yeah, I have a question because we have a test in 3 minutes, some of us. So I was interested in getting a Google internship, like over the summer. Is there any chance of that? Google found that?
Yeah, I mean, their headquarters is out in
I
California.
was thinking Chicago.
Yeah, and they've got them all around the country by now. I think Chicago does have some stuff. There's nothing I know of in St. Louis. Everybody I work with is actually out of Phoenix or California. And so you'd probably have to go there. Chicago I don't even know. I'm sure Chicago's the third
I did a
largest
little
city.
research.
Yeah. The third largest city in the country, so they probably have a headquarters there.
Just wondering who we contact for that.
Yeah, I would go to Google. And I would type in. Not to be, but I'd research that through those, and you'll find. I mean, if you want to get a hold of me directly, I'll put you in touch with the people.
Yeah, that's the other thing is if you have a card or something.
I'm easy to find. Everybody get your phones out real quick and I'll give you my information. This is real easy. This is part of the program that I offer to clients. It's a utility that I use. And this will give you my personal information. It gives you a little bit about what I do too, and you can learn more about me. But send a message to 60637. That's a short code. That's the number. It's not, what's the rest of the number? It's 60637. Okay? The short code, I'm going to give you, let's see, I got 100 of them. I got 87. Great program we got. Really slick. But 60637, that's who it's going to. The message is CC, Cardinal Cowboy. CC, just put CC right next to each other. No spaces, CC. Send that message. Then you will have all my contact information. And by the way, you just signed up to be on my little texting list, which I haven't even sent any people out to, but it does allow people to now get information from me and send you some stuff. And it'll give you some information about me and my company and what I do, and it gives you my email address and my phone number.
Now, do we add you to contact?
Cardinal Cowboy.
Oh, there you go.
That's right.
Oh, cool.
So you should have got an auto reply that comes back. Some carriers don't work with that. I think T-Mobile. What's that?
Track whether it's working track phone.
I don't know, what's a track phone? In the old days, that used to be a phone you would tracking ball.
Track phone is like pay as you go.
Oh, track phone, yeah. Yeah, it'll work. As long as it does texting. Any phone that does texting. Any phone that does texting.
Well, I do have to go.
Okay. But yeah, now you got my information. Feel free to send it to me.
Thanks.
You do. Any other questions?
I've just started in my computer class. This is my first time actually like working with computers as much. I'm in this Apple Farms class. And I'm thinking maybe in about a few more months when I get more familiar with everything, because I'm doing pretty good in the class and learning a lot. And I probably try to get more deeper into it because I am like totally interested in being in the computer field. I really don't know which part of it because I like all of it, like the structures, what they do, the programs, the apps. I'm kind of interested in all of it, so I really haven't decided which one I really want to go in or which one that I think I'm the best in. So
Right.
I probably have to wait.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a question? Or is it just kind of
Yeah.
ask for
I
some
just-
direction on that? Yeah, I mean,
direction.
I'm one that believes you follow your passion. So whatever information you feel most interested towards, go for that. Because if it's something you don't like to do, even though you're getting paid at it, you're going to get worn out on it
Right.
eventually. So go after something that really drives you. I get a great kick out of working with, there's about 50, 55 charities that I've worked with, gone to, made appearances for, showed up, signed autographs with my little. If anybody here wants one of my little Cardinal Cowboy cards, I've got my story. It talks about what happened to me and what I do to try to help the community. And you can have one of those. But my passion is a lot of these charities struggle with marketing themselves. And they don't know the resources that are out there. And they get these awesome web companies that come in and say, for $5,000, we'll do this. And they're going, all right, we got to raise $5,000. And I'd say, wait a minute. You can do that for $2,500 or $3,000 or $300, or use WordPress and just get a hosting plan, and it doesn't cost you hardly anything. It's $6 a month. So there's all kinds of alternatives. You just got to get people the information. We're in a culture now where we can really share that information very easily, right? Any other questions?
You talked a little bit about SEO, and in our classes here, they'll say meta tags, meta tags, meta tags, and as I understand the latest Google algorithms, ignore those. How do you keep